Welcome back to another Saturday morning coffee episode. Today we are joined by my friend Nicolette. Say hi.
Hello.
That's Nicolette. Nicolette, I wanted to start us off with a question that was of a great debate last night, and I involved several people in this. Who's hotter, Brendan Fraser in The Mummy or Tom Cruise in Top Gun?
Brendan Fraser in The Mummy.
Yes.
In The Mummy. For one, I don't like Tom Cruise. For two, his teeth are sideways. You know how everyone's like front two teeth are like in line with their nose? Look at him. This is going to ruin him for the rest of your life.
Oh, I'm good.
If you look at him, his teeth, his middle of his two teeth are like sideways. Because to
be fair, we're talking about who's hotter, so we have to be a little shallow here.
Point of contention. So he had horrible teeth. One of his first acting roles was in The Outsiders, book to movie adaptation. It was great. But it's before he got his teeth done, before he got like really famous. His teeth are jacked. And they had to do surgery and like basically like break his jaw and like align his teeth. But his two front teeth are sideways, and I've never been able to look at him other than his teeth. And he had a unibrow in The Outsider, so the vision is shot. Brendan Fraser. Always.
Okay. I see, this is why we're friends. I knew you would agree with me. I had to call several people, including our mutual friends, Burgundy and Macy, last night, because I was like, I need people's opinions on this, and Faith and I was going back and forth on this.
Faith is a Tom Cruiser?
Yeah. I was like, listen, his Scientology beliefs immediately makes him unattractive, but then the crowd was like, well, you asked who's hot, and I'm like, whoa. Hotness includes, sure, it's probably mostly physical attractiveness, but it also incorporates other categories such as insane beliefs. What cults are you in, and your personality. Those things 100% factor into it. And I'm like, when you do that, there is no comparison between Tom Cruise and Brendan Fraser.
And you hurt America's sweetheart, Katie Holmes? Absolutely not.
Well, I thank you so much for agreeing with me.
You're welcome. Did you keep a tally of like who?
Yeah. So I have both Burgundy and Macy, me and you, all agreed with Brendan Fraser. Faith had a work friend over last night. She also agreed Brendan Fraser. As far as the two girls downstairs who were in the background of the argument, one said in this very specific instance Brendan Fraser. The other one was like, I'm not really getting involved, but I'm going to say Tom Cruise. And I was like, you know what? It's just because he's in a military uniform. That's the only reason. Guarantee it. Anyways, so it's currently 6-2 in this very hot debate. I can't even believe it's a debate, but here we are. Okay. Nicolette.
What a good opening question.
Right? Yeah, thanks. Nicolette, who taught you how to cook?
Let's see. So really it started with, I don't even know, I can't remember like what age I was. I just remember I was just like a little kid. I always watched my Nana in the kitchen, and she would just involve me in cooking, and so I really learned a lot from her. But surprisingly enough, my dad was the cook of our family. So for me, it was always just him and I in the kitchen, and I was his little sous chef. It was a horrible job. I would cry most often because he very much was like, hurry up, and I'd be like a little kid just being like, I'm trying. But I learned a lot from him because my Nana did most often just make the same like recipes over and over again, which is fine. That's what our family loves, that she makes. But my dad and I remember us growing up, and we'd just be watching like Triple D, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives with Guy Fieri, and we would watch cooking shows and the Food Network, and we loved Emerald Lagasse, and we would, even to this day, like, we'll, like, watch, like, Netflix's, like, cooking shows or whatever, and we'll see a recipe, and we're like, do you want to make that? Should we attempt? Should we do this? So, yeah. So, it was my Nana and my dad is who I really learned to cook from. And And everyone loved that I loved cooking. Like I think I was like 10 or 11 and my tata bought me my own set of like pots and pans. Like nice set of pots and pans. They were purple. My parents literally only got rid of them maybe like 4 years ago. It was heartbreaking. It was a heartbreaking moment. But I also was like, this Teflon is probably poisoning us. We need to like toss them at this point. But yeah.
I heard that your nana makes you nervous in the kitchen though.
Yeah, dude. She just knows what she's doing. Like, so this is the thing. So I'm like Mexican American and nobody freaking measures. Nobody measures things. It's
I'm
all
trying
by,
to
like,
get there.
It's all by looks. And so that's how I was taught. So like when I'm teaching people, I'm always just like, and you kind of just like, dude, you kind of just throw this in there. That looks like a good amount. It's all about like touch, like taste and feel and all that stuff. So like for my nana, it's just like second nature. Mm-hmm. And I am like only in specific cases, I'm like nervous in the kitchen with her. And it's when I'm making tortillas.
That's what I heard.
Because she can just pump out a tortillas like nobody's business. Mm-hmm. Mine are almost round. But like and the other thing is like when this had happened, like everyone was in the kitchen watching me like make tortillas, and I was just like, am I doing it right? So that there's like certain instances. Yeah. But in general, we're okay. I'm okay with her. But yeah, no, she just gets them done so quick. You know, her and her salty fingers just make the food just so much better. But yeah.
Okay. Well, I can't remember who actually taught me how to cook. I honestly just feel like I came out the womb with knowledge of how to make oatmeal, eggs, and pancakes, which is what I made a lot growing up. So, like, my mom worked up to, 2. One time she even had 3 jobs at once growing up, single-family household. So, like, I did a lot of, like, breakfast cooking if we did it, or, like, lunches, or trying to prep food for dinner, so then it was all ready when mom came home and she could just cook it. But I don't know, I definitely don't remember anyone ever teaching me. I feel like at a certain point I just had to like start teaching myself, and then like especially when I moved to Texas and I was exposed to a far greater degree of like Mexican cuisine and Southeast Asian cuisine too. There was a lot of opportunities for that, and that I feel like, and that was only a few years ago. That I think is what took me from, oh yeah, I know how to cook these various things and I can follow a recipe, to really understanding flavor profiles, understanding different seasonings and spices, and like different preparation methods and stuff. So I feel like that's where I kind of still taught myself, but that was the environment that helped me like really learn how to be more than just white people food.
Do your siblings like know how to cook? Because that's like the weirdest thing for me is like same thing. I feel like I just kind of was always around in the kitchen and learning how to cook and just knowing how to like do things. But then like my little brother can do like top ramen and a grilled cheese and like can do a baked pizza and like can make bacon.
Yeah.
And then my older brother, like even as an adult, struggles. I think I had to teach him how to make like a grilled cheese. Like it was so ridiculous. And I remember like by the time he like moved out with one of his ex-girlfriends, I don't remember which one, but I remember they tried to like make us food and they brought like a casserole. They made something in a casserole dish. Tell me why Alex accidentally baked the knife.
Oh my god.
And it was like
How?
Plastic. It was one of those like plastic black like steak knives.
Ruined the whole thing.
It did. Like you couldn't eat it. Because and he didn't realize it until he ate a little bit of it. And he was like, what is this thing? And then they found like the black like spatula or whatever it was. Yeah. But we're just like, you're an adult. Like how did like, don't get me wrong, have I melted a cutting board? Yes. Was it my dad's cutting board? Also yes. But like, how do you like just like do things?
That reminds me, we just Faith and I just watched a South Park episode last night where the boys become like friends with teenagers, and then the teenagers are just like so hapless and just awful that one of them calls one of the boys and says, dude, the instructions on the ramen packet are too complicated. How do you make ramen? and he's like trying to walk him through, and he's like, I don't understand. Very basic things. But my siblings, as far as them cooking, like, as far as I know, I don't think my brother knows how to cook at all. I honestly don't know, and he's the one with 3 kids, right? I don't know what they eat, to be honest. Actually, now I'm gonna have to ask them, like, what is your guys' diet? Because I am concerned here.
Are you at least getting 8 grains a day? Are you getting 2 servings of fruit?
Definitely not.
Have you touched a veggie?
And then my first sister has a kid, and she knows how to cook a lot of pasta. I know they eat a lot of pasta dishes. She can cook some basic American dishes, I think. And then my second sister, Emily, I know she knows how to make ramen, but I know she also eats ramen raw, so uncooked.
With the seasoning on it?
Yeah.
I think I did that in middle school.
Yeah. She knows how to bake. Mm-hmm. I don't see her. Sometimes she'll do like do like TikTok recipes.
Baking and cooking the same thing?
I don't. Definitely don't.
Baking's the only time I'll measure things.
Baking is so goddamn stressful for me because it is like tiny little bit of too much flour or a tiny little bit too much baking soda, and the whole thing's screwed up, and it stresses me out so much more because just regular cooking food is much more forgiving than baking anything. So baking is way more stressful, but I know that she bakes, but I don't know if she really cooks other than like the occasional TikTok recipe. But here's the thing. I think the reason that they don't really know how to cook or anything is because all 3 of them are like super picky eaters. Very picky. Always have been. And
like they're
to
not
be
going to
fair,
make homemade chicken nuggets. Like they're just like, well, we can just buy them. Like this is the brand.
No,
I like.
what I mean is super limited flavors and just like super limited food. Like
Michael,
Emily,
does your family not season their food?
My mom does, yeah. But
okay.
Does
seasoning include only salt and pepper?
No.
Okay.
No. It's not much more than that. To be fair, I mean, we're a very white family, and I was very much an adult before I really learned seasonings and stuff. But growing up, to be fair, all of us were like meat and potatoes. That's all we want, you know. And then as soon as I turned 18, I moved out of the house, and I was immediately like, there is a bigger world. Wait a minute. And now, if I see octopus on the menu, I'm going to go for that every time. If I see something, usually when I sit down in a restaurant, I'm going to scan the menu for ingredients I've never had before. And if I see one of those things, I'm going to go for it. I don't even know what it is. Doesn't matter, like, if I don't like whatever that dish is. If it's an ingredient I've never had before, I'm going to have it. Or a combination of ingredients I've never seen before. I'm going to go. I try to go for the craziest thing on the menu because I want to, broaden it. I've been like, since I was 18, as soon as I moved out, I was like, new things. My siblings are still not so adventurous. And that's probably why they don't know how to cook. Probably why they have limited seasonings. Emily will not go near rice. Won't touch it.
Like just like plain rice.
Just rice in general. Won't go near it.
Rice.
I know. I couldn't imagine my life without rice. Are you kidding me? Paige, I know she will not go anywhere near like oatmeal. Won't touch it.
Oatmeal does have certain textures, so I can understand oatmeal. It is depend on how you make it. Can be slimy, and I know so many different ways to make oatmeal.
There's so many ways, yeah.
I really want to get into savory. Sorry, I'm such a side story person.
No,
so
go
sorry.
for
The
it.
ADHD.
That's exactly what.
So strong. But savory oatmeal is like a thing that I'm a little bit scared to delve into, but I want to try it.
Yeah.
It's pretty common in a lot of Asian cooking and whatnot. So may have to attempt.
Definitely when you're doing that. Yeah, so I think all of them just have super limited palates and are just not interested in trying most things. Like, the faces they make when I do order something like, oh, octopus, hell yeah. Or, when we go out for sushi, they're going to have, California rolls, and I'm ordering, eel sauce and eel in my in my rolls and whatever great combinations.
Eel in my freezer. Are you kidding? Like,
yeah, so good. But they're like, ugh.
Is your mom an adventurous eater? More so than
when
later?
I became an adult, I realized she was.
Yeah, but she was limited in the family.
Yeah,
like,
very
dynamics.
limited growing up, and like very limited raising us, and I didn't realize that until I was older. But yeah, she's not quite to the same degree as adventurous as me. There are definitely things that she's like, no, thank you. But yeah, far more so now. Yeah. And speaking of like Asian food and stuff, do you have like food related travel goals?
So, I really want to eat at a Michelin star restaurant. I don't care which one. Just I want to eat at one.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. It's always been a thing since I was like a kid of like I just want to experience like what has like been rated. I know it, but it's kind of hard because like, yes, is it like a trivial thing that the Michelin tired whatever the heck decided to do? Yes, but I think it also is like they are rated and they're looked at with such care in deciding like, is this like what we want to put our name on? So I think that would be really fun. But for me, like when it comes to like travel and trying new things, is I am also the same way. I love trying new things in different restaurants and like all this stuff. And it's really funny because like I used to be like growing up, I was a chicken strip kid. Like any restaurant we went to, we weren't going to the nicest stinking restaurants,
Yeah.
But like I was such a chicken strip kid, and my family still makes fun of it, and my friends still make fun of it to me, like to this day. Like will send me funny memes. It's like when you go to a nice restaurant and your friend orders chicken strips, like that's how they joke. I'm like, I don't do that as an adult. Only sometimes. Texas Roadhouse has amazing chicken strips, I will say. But like in general, I don't do that like very often. I think I was always really worried and nervous about food, and like you couldn't mess up chicken strips. Like that was like my thing when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But then my dad would always like make different recipes, and we'd always make different things, like still like meat and potato, but like different veggies, different ways of making it. We like would do like the steak roll-ups. Like it was just always so different every time. So like he would basically go grocery shopping every single day, and we'd make a new meal every single day. We're a bad leftover family.
Oh, shame.
It's so bad. So bad. But we're also like, are we allowed to cuss on this podcast?
Yeah.
Okay. We're also a big ass family. Like with my aunts and uncles and cousins and stuff like that. So like learning how to cook, and I don't know if this is just like with Mexican families, but like learning how to like scale down to like a normal amount of food is like kind of hard, but also just not being a leftover family. It's like, wow, we waste a lot of food. But so I think now like back to like travel, I feel like I am more adventurous. And actually my cousin and her dad, they have a timeshare, and so they travel a lot, and she has like rules when they travel that she dictates for everybody else. And it's like we cannot eat at any restaurants that are in the town we live in. So like we have to eat at different places, which I'm like, I love that rule. I think that's such a good rule, and I've kind of now like started to do that like for like myself when I travel. It's like, no, we don't want to go to Applebee's because we have an Applebee's in Moscow, Idaho, that sort of thing. I think I don't know. I've always also wanted to be like Anthony Bourdain level of like just traveling and trying different things.
What a dream.
Oh my gosh. And all these things. But I also find these like, I always save like in Instagram stories, different restaurants and different places to try, and all these things. But there's a kid, I guess not a kid, he's like, has to be at least 20 now, who started, I find like random little things that I'm like, this sounds so cool, and I so want to try it if I ever travel to XYZ state. But there's a kid in New York who has like a 13-piece like tasting set that he started doing when he was like 16. And by the time he was one of the youngest like restaurant owners, so he opened his own like tasting room when he was like 17.
Oh my God. Okay.
And he's gonna be a Michelin star, like, restaurateur, whatever they're called, chef and all this stuff. But and I've heard his, like, tastings are so good. He only has, like, 10 slots a day. Like, something crazy, because they're so intricate and so, like, curated. So I think that would be so fun to do. I actually really want to try one of the restaurants here. So Lodgepole is a really great restaurant in... Does this podcast know where you live?
Yeah.
Okay. Not trying to, dox my friend here. But in Moscow, Idaho, there's a really good restaurant called Lodgepole, and they are a local restaurant. They do local ingredients, local foods, very curated, open kitchen concept. So, like, you're able to watch, like, the chefs cook and everything to that effect. But they actually just expanded their restaurant into having more of, like, a banquet style side of the restaurant. So it's like one restaurant, but, like, split into two with two different concepts. One is, like, fine dining, like, with your family, all these things. And the other side, they've kind of turned into, like, a tasting room. So, like, they have a Valentine's Day, like, set. So you reserve your spot. Here's the menu. And it's going to be like, here's your appetizer. Here's your curated drinks here, and it's all, like, curated and, like, organized and stuff. But they do different things like that. And I'm like, I want to try. I'm like, can I just do it by myself? But even in their regular dining room, they have I think it's like $90, but I'm always just like, I can do that. Like, I'll just do it one time. But they have, like, a 5-part, like, course, like, tasting course and, like, things like that. I'm like, just, like, give me what you want. Like, what does this make? What do you do? So I think that's really cool. So I want to do, like, those types of things. Yeah.
I find it hilarious that your food travel goals are Michelin star restaurants and tasting rooms, and, like, mine are, give me all the street food vendors in this city. I'm going to order something from every single one of them, and I want to try, like, all the street food I possibly can. That is the only thing I'm
want to
interested
find
in.
the best dumpling. I thought you meant, like, big travel. Like, yes. No, I would love to, like, also go and, like, try all the different cuisines. But, like, the big one, like, big goals that I want that. Because I'm weird when I travel. Like, people, like, will save money and put away, like, money for, like, oh, this is going to be for buying X, Y, and Z. No, it's, like, travel fund. Most of it is food. Like, because I'm like, yeah, we're going to try. My thing is, like, I always like to go to a minimum, like, one nice restaurant. If everything else is, like, cheap and we're trying the different dive bars and the different, like, mom and pop shops and, like, all this stuff, yes, love that. Love finding. I personally am a person, I like local things, I guess. Like, I want to know where the locals go. I don't want to go to standard, like, oh, this is so popular on social media. I don't care about that. Show me where the aunties go. Show me, like, the hole in the walls where you can, like, trust, oh, old people eat here, of that, like, of that culture, it's real.
Exactly.
Like, that for me is what I like. But
I had an ex, or my last ex, every time we would go to a new city or a new town, or anytime we traveled, she planned out everywhere we were going to go based on TikToks. And I'm like, no.
That's fun for, like, a couple of things. Like,
every place we were going to eat had to be researched on TikTok. And I was like, I don't want to go to all, like, the TikTok famous locations. That sounds awful to me. But it was every single time. And I was like, please stop. Not about it. Can we just try something, like, can we just find the most rundown looking Mexican restaurant? Because we're living in Texas. I promise you, the most rundown Mexican restaurant is going to taste better than anything you're finding.
The sketchy taco truck
exactly.
is going to have the best food. Like, that is just how it is.
And yeah, so it was rough, and I hope to never go back to that, because I feel like TikTok is great for finding those things, but it is going to find the most gentrified locations possible.
Yeah, and I also think, like, I think that's fun for a couple of things, like, if you love, like, coffee, yeah, let's find, like, and TikTok shows you this crazy cool coffee shop, yes, let's go try it. Like, that's something fun.
I'll give the coffee locations to TikTok, yeah.
But even if it's just, like, a random restaurant where it's like, oh, this is a popular barbecue spot, like, everyone loves it. Let's see what the hype is about. Like, I think that's fine for like 1 out of every 10 restaurants, like you're doing in that town or whatever. But like for every single one, like that is...
I prefer going to like the subreddit for the town or the city and then scrolling until I find people arguing in the comments about like which barbecue joint is better. And then getting into the beef of like, well, actually, they're brothers who have been feuding for like 60 years now. And this one got opened up out of spite. They're actually the same recipes and same flavors that all came from their dad, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, so I know both these places are going to be great. You're not going to find that same kind of information on TikTok about these two brothers who've been feuding for 60 years. Which there is a very similar story about something like that called Black's Barbecue in Central Texas. Anyways,
shout out to Black's Barbecue.
Oh my God, it's so good. I lived a block and a half away from one of the Black's Barbecue joints. My God, that place was so good. You would just walk in, you would grab your tray, and then you had a row of sides, and you would just tell them, oh yeah, I want the banana pudding, and I want the baked beans. And then you'd move on down, and they'd be like, just all the meat you could want, and they just slab down that meat, give you a few dry slices of bread, and said, have a good day.
My dad loves Triple D. Like, it's one of his favorite shows, and he loves, like, being able to, like, go to the restaurants. My grandfather lives in Vegas, and we were all visiting. I think I was, like, 19, and my dad was like, there was a diner that Guy Fieri went to, and we have to try it. It was, oh my gosh, it was, like, Roadkill Diner. And at the top, I was like, oh, we're gonna eat at a place called Roadkill Diner. Okay. But it was like a no seating, like you literally just go order your plate and all this stuff. I shit you not, it was in the middle of a neighborhood in like a Vegas suburb. Like it was the most random. The neighbor had a horse in their front yard. That is what I remember. It was the mac and cheese. Mm-hmm. Blown away. Like literally the next day everyone was like, what do you guys want to eat? And I was like, I want the mac and cheese from Roadkill Diner. Like I don't want anything else. We need to go back. And they're just like, yeah, it's 45 minutes away. I'm like, we can sacrifice this time for the mac and cheese. But like things like that, like yes, it was on a TV show, but it was also this like random hole in the wall, like hole in the neighborhood, really sketchy restaurant looking thing. So good. Phenomenal.
All right, I got one more question for you. How important is food to you in maintaining your family's culture?
Oh, man. Michael, these are so philosophical. Anyway, speaking today is apparently rough for me. It's kind of hard to say because I don't want to say, like, we are... like whitewashed, but I grew up in a Mexican American family, and my mom is Spanish too, but like somewhat non-traditional. Like you think like with Hispanic families and like the dad takes on this like, I am the ruler of the house, like I don't cook and clean, like that is like the wife, that's the kids' jobs, whatever. My dad wasn't like that growing up. Like, I learned how to clean from my dad. I learned how to cook from my dad. And so it was this, like, yes, we made, like, Mexican food, and I learned how to cook a lot of Mexican food, but it's, like, also our family learned, we made a bunch of different stuff. Like, my dad makes some of the best, like, fettuccine Alfredo and, like, shrimp scampi. But we also love making, like, enchiladas, and... he makes, like, the best pozole and stuff like that. And, we do the tamales each year and all that jazz. And I think, like, culture-wise, like, we're not, like, I don't want to say we're not a very, like, cultured family, but it's just not something, like, we didn't grow up speaking Spanish. My grandfather was of the generation of, like, trying to Americanize. And it was really, like, for him, you don't speak Spanish because we're Americans now and we speak English here. If you want to speak Spanish, you can move back to Mexico. Like that's not what we do. So it's just like this like weird balancing act. And I'm very, like, honestly, very white passing. In the summer I get a little bit tanner, but we're very pale Mexicans. So for us, it was always just kind of like, yes, we understood our culture, but I'm not as, like, connected with it. And for me, in growing up now and as an adult, like, I've tried harder to be more connected to my culture in, you know, understanding, like, the different things of, like, history and, like, the tragedies, but the happiness. And for me, like, within food, so it's become more important to learn, like, all of, like, the family recipes. So I'm, like, one of the only people in my family that knows my Nana's recipes, because I've made them all with her and I've walked through it. So, you know, once she kicks the bucket, which is hopefully not soon. She's literally turning 70 this month. So she has to live at minimum 20 more years. It's determined. She has to. But, like, I'm the only one that knows, like, all the recipes and where to find them and how to make them. And, you know, like, I keep her banana bread recipe in my notes app at all times because I love making it. So for me, it's kind of more like, if I ever pop out a spawn or something, I don't know if kids are going to be in the future, but if you do, like, I want them to be connected to it and to understand, like, you know, these recipes are a part of our history and our culture. So for me now, like, yes, it's more important. But growing up, I don't think it was. Like, it was things that we did, but wasn't like, we do this because it's our culture, you know?
Yeah.
I wish we did. I wish we had more, like, history within our food growing up, but it was also, you know, like, 2 young parents with 3 kids just trying to get by and just trying to get us to eat whatever we would eat. You know, we had spaghetti every Wednesday.
Okay, we're going to take us out with a couple of rapid fire questions.
I have a couple questions for you.
Oh, okay.
I prepped.
Yes.
I don't know how long these are going to be.
We're going to keep rolling then if you got questions.
Okay. Fun question.
Okay.
Fuck, marry, kill. Breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Ooh. Wow. Oh my God. I'm going to say marry breakfast, fuck dinner, kill lunch.
Really?
Breakfast is my absolute favorite meal. Ride or die. I could eat breakfast for every meal, you know? You can't eat dinner for every meal. Dinner as breakfast, not the same as breakfast for dinner.
But is that American culture? Because in, like,
probably, yes, that
you know,
is,
like, in Asian cultures,
food.
like in, like, Korean culture, in Japanese culture, like, they're having, like, rice and salmon and veggies and
totally
salad
different.
for, you know, for breakfast.
True. Dinner, fuck that up every time. Let's go for it. Dirty. Let's go for it. But for lunch, it's always just like, meh, you know, like, you're busy in the middle of the day. You don't have as much time to devote to, like, making a well-cooked lunch here in the United States. Anyways, you get, like, if you're going to go home to make dinner or make lunch, you've got, like, 30 minutes to do it. And then you have to rush it. You don't even get to sit there and actually enjoy your food because you got to get back to the office. Otherwise, you're taking something cold and warming it up in the microwave. Can't stand microwaves.
Okay, I don't know what people's deal with microwaves, because I don't have, my roommate also doesn't like microwaves. We don't have a microwave. I miss having a microwave so bad.
Do you have an air fryer?
I do, but
do you
it's
have an
just
oven?
Yeah.
Do you have a pot and a pan?
We have a toaster oven.
Then you
too.
have everything you need.
But sometimes just, like, microwaving, just something, it's just so much easier.
Easier does not equate to quality.
Remind me of microwave. Let me tell you who I would fuck, marry, kill, breakfast, lunch, dinner. But remind me of microwave, because I just saw something on Instagram, TikTok, whatever, and I was like, a whole new world has opened up for me. So marry dinner. I love dinner. Dinner is, like, my favorite meal of the day. Fuck lunch and kill breakfast. I hate breakfast.
No, you don't.
Like, I have to, like, make it a goal to try and eat breakfast.
Why?
Like, I would rather sleep. I would rather sleep. Genuinely, I've never been a breakfast person, and I think honestly, most of my family Like, I don't think my mom ever made us breakfast growing up. Like,
Oh,
other
my
than,
mom
like,
rarely, if
like,
ever, was able
it
to.
wasn't a thing. Maybe on the weekends we would have like breakfast in the morning, something to that. But like, we're not breakfast people. You know what my breakfast is? A 20-ounce iced Americano with white chocolate and vanilla salt with oat milk.
That's not breakfast.
You know, that is my breakfast almost every single day. But no, like, I have to try and make it a goal to have breakfast right now. Like, actually, in all, like, I've never been a breakfast person. And I think it's just, I just, like, can't eat when I get up in the morning. Like, maybe an hour later, maybe 2 hours later, I'm like, okay, great. But, like, I'm not, like, I like some cereal. Like,
I'm not talking like cereal.
I like, but even then, like, not the biggest fan of bacon. I know, hot take. I'll eat bacon, but I'm also, like, weird with it. I need it, like, burnt to a crisp.
The top number one breakfast meat. I'll say that.
But I don't like ham either. Like, eggs are fine. I like eggs. Eggs are okay. I like toast.
You like chorizo?
I do. And so, like, but that's so much work. And that's the thing. Like, if I want breakfast things or I'm, like, trying to be better about it, I will meal prep stuff. So, like, I'll make a bunch of breakfast burritos. I'll make a bunch of sandwiches. And that's fine. But, like, a genuine just, like, oh, like, my old roommate, Cheyenne, breakfast is her, like, her biological clock of, like, food need, she needs to be fed every 2 hours. Like, she's, like, a newborn. Like, there is oh, I'm hungry, and then, like, you have 30 minutes to get her food. Like, that is just, like, how she is. She wakes up starving. And this is the other thing. She can eat the same thing every single day. She would make, like, a scramble. This is her exact breakfast. We were roommates for a hot second. For a hot second, I mean, like, 3 years. She would do a breakfast scramble. Eggs. She would, maybe that week, prep ground beef with olives. I don't know, man. That's what she had. She would keep that in the fridge, and then she would also have, like, sauteed veggies, so, like, cabbage and onion and that sort of thing. And then she would just, like, take, like, handfuls of each thing and eggs and make that her scramble, like, her breakfast. Very nutritious, very well-rounded. But, like, breakfast was her favorite meal, and she would wake up because she was starving. No, I will vom if I eat so early in the morning. Also, it's so much. I feel like I just do so much work in the morning. Like, I'm checking email, I'm answering calls. Mm-hmm. That breakfast just kind of just, like, gets in the way, even when I'm, like, at work. Like, I make lazy oatmeal, and it's how my Nana taught me how she makes lazy oatmeal. And it's, like, watered down oatmeal that you can just drink out of a mug.
Oh, stop. No,
yeah, surprisingly very good.
No,
but, like, yes. That's
no,
what it is. But, like,
no.
Yeah, no, I love lunch. And dinner is, like, my favorite meal of the day.
Okay.
I think our friendship has changed. I think that just ruined his entire day.
See, the thing is, for me, if I am hungry at all concentration, gone. Any ability to maintain focus and stay on task doesn't exist.
You sound weak.
I have to, if I feel hungry at all, it's game over, and that it's literally all my caveman brain can think about is, you're dying, you need to go get food.
I very regularly don't eat until, like, 2 p.m.
I hate you.
I just, like, don't think about it. I just don't. I've tried to be better, trying to hit protein goals. I eat a lot of, like, jerky sticks. I got them from Costco. God. I like snacks. I'm a snack person. But I try to be better. I do try to be better about eating breakfast because I'm like, it is healthier, sets up your blood sugar for the day. So, I'm trying to be, because my new roommate right now, she's a breakfast person. Like, she will be late to work because she's like, no, I had to eat breakfast. I'm like,
yeah,
not for me. Not for me at all. I do try to do yogurt though. But then I just end up eating it for dessert. Like, genuinely. Like, I would rather have it as a dessert.
What's your next question? I need to move on from this.
Did your family have any holiday, like, meal traditions?
Yeah, so we always had...
Let's do the two big holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah. Turkey at Thanksgiving and ham at Christmas. Scandalous. Always the mainstays. You know what a pickle wrap is? Or a pickle roll?
Okay, I'm going to guess. Let me guess.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to assume it's like ham, cream cheese, and a pickle.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. We do that, except minus the pickle, because that's weird white people things.
Yeah, so
Ooh,
I didn't
do pickled
I thought
asparagus. Did you know that?
Ooh,
Disgusting.
I thought that was pretty common white people food, and then Faith joined us for Christmas, and she's like, and Mom was talking about everything. Well, Mom was taking requests in the family chat, and my sister said pickle rolls, and Mom was like, yeah, of course, it's always gonna be on the list. And then Faith was like, what the fuck is a pickle? And I was like, what do you mean? What is a pickle roll? And you've never had a pickle roll? She's like, no. And I'm like, okay, you just put down a slice of ham, you put down a sliver of cream cheese, and then a pickle spear right there, and you just roll it up.
Do you not spread out the cream cheese?
Oh,
you fucking heathens.
I don't know. I've never been the one in charge of making them. Paige is my first sister, has made them entire life. She's always been the one that volunteered for making them. So I can't remember off the top of my head. Possibly, I don't know, but probably not. I'm gonna guess. Always had deviled eggs.
Yes.
Stuffing.
Okay.
Not exciting stuffing though.
Do you put weird shit in your deviled eggs though? I accidentally have eaten a tuna deviled egg.
Oh,
atrocious!
No.
Don't ever put tuna in deviled
wild.
eggs.
No, it's pretty mild, limited deviled eggs. We've recently been experimenting with like sweet pickle deviled eggs. That's a hot debate in the family. And pretty much only 2 of us like them. And so we get a special couple just set to the side just to appease us.
Like relish. I think it's just like normal relish.
Other than that, I think mostly everything else stays on rotation. You know, we get buttered mashed potatoes.
But are there any like, I guess I mean by like fun traditions? Is like, is there like a breakfast like that you look forward to every single, like you guys get up and make cinnamon rolls together and that's what you guys have?
Okay,
like, do you guys do things like that?
There's 2 of them. They're on Christmas morning, we get cinnamon rolls. And then, unrelated to holidays, but growing up, every single Sunday, when we were leaving Dad's house, we got Dad and Paige would get up early and go get a box of donuts, and that was going to be our breakfast every Sunday morning.
It's fun.
Yeah.
My boss, I have a new director right now. He gets his family Dom's donuts each Friday. Like, that's their family treat. He brings a box to us in the office. They're so good. And I'm like, this is everything that I need.
Other than that, also on Christmas, we always get to have a mimosa. And that was started by my grandpa. I don't know if he got it from his family or anything. He died too early for like me to ask that. As far as I know, no one else knows. There is a bowl of uncracked nuts every holiday season that me and my mom we'll sit down and play cards, and we'll crack nuts and eat those nuts. Eat them while we play cards throughout the holiday season. I think.
What kind of nuts? Like.
It's a mixture. Pecans, walnuts, Brazilian, cashews. Yeah, just an assorted variety of nuts. Like the assorted bin you can get at Winco on the holidays. It's just, go there, get a big old scoop, throw it in a bowl, and call it good.
There you go.
Yeah.
Solid. I think my family, so we essentially have the same, like, dinner each, like, Thanksgiving and Christmas. Thanksgiving, we are turkey, ham, and then, normal side dishes of, like, mashed potatoes, stuffing, the disgusting green bean casserole, canned jelly, like cranberry sauce, that sort of stuff.
Sure.
Thanksgiving or Christmas, we do prime ribbed and baked potatoes. New to the rotation as of the last like 2-3 years, mac and cheese and roasted Brussels sprouts. You have to know about me is I hate, those are also added to Thanksgiving dinner as well. I hate Thanksgiving because I hate the food. I literally eat, before they added mac and cheese and Brussels sprouts, I would only eat turkey, Hawaiian rolls that I would have to buy myself. A cup of gravy to dip my turkey in because I don't like sauce poured over my food, and cranberry sauce. Yeah, that's literally all I would have on Thanksgiving. When they added more food to the rotations, my family was shocked. They were like, "Oh my God, Nicolette's eating." And I'm like, "Yeah, see what happens when you make things like I would like? I can eat dinner." So I love Christmas dinner way more because I love prime rib. I love baked potatoes. Love mac and cheese. My dad makes really good mac and cheese. So that's like kind of just our normal like family meal. But something that we do is Christmas breakfast is our like most tradition, I guess, is that we have. So my dad and I get up. He's already got coffee brewing, and we make eggs Benedict. And
Yum.
yeah, so we do it a little bit different. My dad and I both don't like egg yolk. Like, I don't know why. Like, we just...
Hey, how do you make it?
Well, we do like scrambled eggs, but my dad does them in like he somehow gets the scrambled eggs so freaking fluffy. I don't know how he does it. But he'll do that, and we'll do like sheets of eggs basically like in a pan, and he'll just like cook batches of them. So we'll do like scrambled eggs essentially instead of a poached egg. I can deal with an egg yolk if I have an hollandaise sauce on it, but it's just a weird, like if I get a whiff of an egg yolk, I don't know why. It just really, there's only like a couple smells like when it comes to food that really like make me grossed out, and it's half cooked chicken.
Oh.
Like, you know, like when you're making wings in the oven and then you have to like flip them over, that just like scent, no, makes me want to gag. And egg yolks and like eggs have such a weird smell to me.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. But it's really funny because my mom is like sunny side up egg, dips her toast, and I'm like, that's I can't. I
love a runny egg to dip like pancake in. Oh,
that
perfect.
Actually makes me want to puke.
So good.
No, disgusting. One, that you keep your pancake and your egg on the same plate, atrocious. Weird thing about me is I don't like my food touching. It's a point of contention. People make fun of me for it, and I think it's hilarious. But yeah, so we'll make eggs Benedict, and then like we have coffee, but we eat them on our special Christmas plates. So it's half of a plate set that's like gold rimmed. There's a little scene of like a teddy bear and a Christmas tree and presents. And the set is split between my dad and his sister. When their parents got divorced, my tata gave my aunt and my dad like the split set. So that's what we're the only ones allowed to eat on our special Christmas plates. So that's what we eat on for Christmas breakfast and Christmas dinner. So those are like our like tradition type stuff. And then do you want me to continue? I know we're going over. I do have like 2 questions left.
You go ahead.
Okay. What is your opinion on like sweet like desserts and herbs? Like being in the dessert. So like my signature cupcake that I like to make is a vanilla cupcake with a basil Swiss meringue buttercream, and then I do like a blueberry lemon compote in it. But things like that. So like I'm thinking of, so one thing about me is I have like food Instagrams. One of them is like a recipe testing one, and another one is like, okay, here's like the final product. Here's my food photography. And I am trying to do a series of like a baking series of like things that you wouldn't think could go well together. So like brown butter chocolate chip miso cookies I'm attempting. And I was thinking of doing like blackberry sage scones. But like, so like, what's your opinion on like savory herbs and sweet things?
I like them, but it's incredibly easy for them just to not be good.
Yeah.
And so my most experience I had with this was one of my trips to London and buying some sweet treats at like an open air market outside of one of the subway stations. I think it was not King's Cross, but there was another one. Oh, I'm forgetting the name of it. Anyways, they had a market, and it was just outside the hostel I was staying in, so I kind of like walked through and grabbed a bunch of different treats, and they were really good. And that's kind of been the majority of my experience, though, is that one time at the market when I bought a bunch to try them. I like them. Like I said, I'm very nervous about just anyone making them because I'm like, nervous. I think that's about most opinion I had because I've had very limited experience with them.
Yeah. Would you ever attempt making something? What would you like potentially make?
See, the thing about baking is that it stresses me out so much that I just prefer to not bake.
I don't understand that. Like, I think once you get things down, if you really think of baking as like a ratio, because that's all it is it's just a ratio of, like pound cake is just a pound of everything.
Yeah.
It's a 1-to-1-to-1 ratio, that sort of thing. So like, if you get it down to like that science, it's not that bad. And I honestly, what have you ruined so bad by just having like maybe a tablespoon over of flour?
Cookies.
Oh my God, really?
I mean, they just don't come out how I want them to come out, They don't come out like the picture.
We have two very different ways of baking because I'm just like, one of my favorite cookies that I make is just like everything in the freezer cookies. That's what I call them because I will make like different batches of things randomly. And so I'll have like leftover white chocolate chips, milk chocolate, semi-sweet, different types of nuts. And I will just throw that into like my base like cookie dough recipe. And I make a brown butter like chocolate chip cookie dough recipe. And I would just like throw all of that in there. Tell me why. Oh, and like chunks of like Heath bars. Tell me why it's the best cookie I've ever made. And so now it's like a cookie that like I just like genuinely regularly make now. So like things like that. Like once you get things down, like
stressful. That's what that is. Okay, we are gonna have to wrap this up though. We generally go 20 to 30 minutes.
I'm a yapper. I can keep this going.
It's better than going, oh yeah, no, it's not. Food's not part of my culture. Okay. Great talk. I
can talk about anything.
Solid. Well, you're gonna have to come back. You also volunteered to be on the Canvas Apron cooking show. So
yeah, I'll teach you how to make tortillas.
That would be amazing.
Maybe round or pozole. I remember you mentioned you like pozole.
Oh God, I love pozole. But yes, both sounds fantastic. Anyways, we're gonna close us out with my podcast recommendation of the week, and that would be, and I apologize if I've already recommended this podcast. I have lost track of the list of podcasts I have already recommended on the show, so I got to remake it. But today's recommendation is Clutch My Pearls. It is a smut book podcast, and it is very good. It is ran by 3 women. 2 of them read the book, and the third one does not. And so the 2 that read the book come in, talk about it, tell the third one all about it, and it's very funny, very enjoyable. It's a great podcast.
I love that. Can I give a song recommendation of the week?
Yes, you can.
Lake Street Drive does an amazing rendition of Rich Girl.
There we go.
So it's been the vibe as of late. 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Okay, you got a podcast and a song recommendation this week. Thanks for checking out the show. Have a good week.
Bye.